I don't get it. I don't get it with this sport. I don't get it. Last weekend, we had the worst All-Star race I've ever seen in my entire life. To go from that, and in 1 week, we went from that to then witnessing the greatest Coke 600 I have ever seen in my life. What? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. It's probably going to be uploaded at around like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning, but good morning. Welcome back to the episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. Holy crap, we have got a lot of stuff to talk about. My goodness. Now, we all had a feeling that this Coke 600 would possibly be a bit more chaotic than normal. But I don't think anyone expected to be this chaotic. Like, literally everything happened. Even a flip happened. It had great racing. It had great pit strategy or tire strategy. Great comers and goers. It had wrecks. It had incredible moves and an incredible finish. It had everything you wanted from a Coke 600. I've been watching NASCAR since 2009. That was the best Coke 600 I have ever seen. And this is coming off of last year, which was quite possibly the worst Coke 600 I have ever seen. To go from that to then the best Coke 600 says a lot about this next gen car. It, again, it's checked off all the boxes. Alright, let's just get into it. I mean, stage one, I get throughout the entirety, or I guess just overall, the general portion of the entire race was just it had great racing. You know, it had its dull moments, especially later near the second or near the final 100 miles of the race. It did have its down moments, but overall it had some just really good racing. And every stage had its own little story. For example, stage one began with Toyotas. It was controlled from the first half with drivers like Kyle Busch and Bubba Wallace, who had very strong cars early on in the race, were first and second, and then you had the Chevrolet drivers come to life with Daniel Suarez. Charged from the lower portion of the top 10, drove all his way up to the front, albeit very aggressively. Suarez pulled a bold move on Kyle Busch, tried to slide up right in front of Kyle. He did that, but he got Kyle Busch squirreling. Kyle Busch spins, makes a long slide down to the inside portion of the track to bring out the caution, and goes one lap down. That'd be the last time we'd hear of Kyle Busch for quite some time. But yeah, Kyle Busch, he finished second in this race, but no one expected him to finish second probably with how low that team was at that point in the race, because after he spun from that contact with Daniel Suarez, he was basically nowhere to be seen. But the Chevys took over the rest of the way after that Kyle Busch spin, and Chase Elliott went on to getting in the win. Hendrick Motorsports kind of took over after that caution came out due to pit stops. Chase Elliott would get the stage win. Stage two was extremely chaotic. So many incidents. Now, the tone continued to be Chevrolet dominating. This time, though, it was Suarez's teammate, Ross Chastain. He took over in the middle portion of the stage. But like I said, this race, or especially this stage, was filled with incidents, filled with cautions. First, you have Bubba Wallace running in third place. He spins all by himself. Then later on, Austin Cindric in turns 3 and 4, he loses a tire, backs it into the outside wall. Later on, Kyle Larson spun after being on old tires from the 10th position, and then his teammate Chase Elliott hits the wall from the 3rd position, spins out, and is out of the race due to a broken toe link. And then after that, we would get even the big one. Yes, of course, with a race as chaotic as this, makes sense to have a big one. And this involved, I think, 12 or so cars. It happened around 10 laps ago. Ryan Blaney on a restart, hits the apron, loses it, collects a bunch of different race cars. Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, Hamlin, Noah Gragson, Martin Truex Jr., Harrison Burton, Michael McDowell, Todd Gilliland, his teammate. Then you had, I think it was a William Byron, Brad Keselowski, and Bubba Wallace. I think there were other drivers that were involved in that crash, but there's too many to count. There was a lot of drivers that were involved in this race. But yeah, after that crash, things settled down. We did have just a handful of laps to go in stage number 2. Trackhouse Racing would stay out in front, and Suarez would win the stage. Chastain would finish right behind him in second place. Again, Chevrolet's Trackhouse Racing, they were setting the tempo. Like I said, stage 3, that was kind of like the point in the race where things started to die down a little bit. You know, it wasn't as chaotic. Just like I said, Chastain continued to set the tempo, but this time you had new contenders. You didn't have Suarez up there. You didn't have, like I said, Kyle Busch. Bubba was taken out early on in the race. Now you have Reddick, who's up towards the front now, Briscoe, who already won in Phoenix, and also you have Kyle Larson, which we need to talk about him later on in this race because he had a heartbeat of a day. He went from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, high, low, throughout the entire race. But yeah, that was really how the top 5 was for all of Stage 3. Chastain would win that again. So Stage 4 was slowly building up to have a huge climax of finish. Chastain and Reddick continued from stage number 3, 1 and 2. They battled out for quite a little bit before Chastain would prevail. He clearly had the faster car. However, Reddick then reports a vibration on the left rear of his car, and with 60 laps to go, that left rear tire would go flat, brings out the caution. On the next restart, we had the crash that a lot of people are talking about from this race. So on the restart, Daniel Suarez gets right up in front of Chase Briscoe. Briscoe, though, gets into him. He wasn't clear. Suarez slides. Todd Gilliland then hits him. Chris Buescher gets involved and then flips wildly, tumbles over numerous times before landing on his roof. He was okay. They flipped the car back on its wheels and he was able to get out of the car with ease. Now, how he flipped was really weird because he didn't hit a wall. He was going way too slow for air to get underneath the car. But what happened was that apparently when he got hit by Suarez, the right front tire I guess you could say got out of socket and got underneath Chastain's car. So when that happened, the tire, which was still connected, was still tethered to Buescher's car, dug into the grass. So when that happened, it just popped Buescher up into the air and did a bunch of basically did a blowover. Didn't look scary. I mean, I knew Buescher would be okay from that type of crash, but it was just funny to me. When I saw that, I kind of laughed at it because of how ridiculous it looked, how Buescher just popped into the air and started flipping. But after that crash, Kyle Larson, who, again, we're going to talk about his day. He had a roller coaster of a day. No one expected him to be anywhere near the race lead, much less the lead lap. He is now taking over the position. He's taken over this race and is driving away. Chastain, who we thought was going to win this race, he starts to fall back. Larson prevailing ahead, builds up a good lead, and everyone's thinking, okay, yep, Larson. After all that, Larson's going to go back to back. However, Chase Briscoe, he's got something to say about that. He now jumps to second place. He now starts to become the guy that everyone's rooting for to challenge Larson, and he's actually running him down. And everyone looked like, all right, we got a battle on our hands, and it got really intense with 4 laps to go. Briscoe is able to get side by side with Larson, but Larson, with such bravery, holds it on the outside lane and takes it right back from Briscoe. But he's not out of the woods just yet. Briscoe continues to charge on Larson. He gets back to his bumper and coming to 2 to go in turn number 2, Briscoe with all of his might gets underneath Larson, but 110% was way too much. He loses it, spins it underneath Larson, backs it into the wall, and brings out the caution, sending us into NASCAR overtime. Again, it made sense. For a race as chaotic as this, it was only fitting that this race would end in NASCAR overtime. So NASCAR overtime, here we go. Larson on the inside, Chastain on the outside. But then you see Austin Dillon. Now Austin Dillon, you see him on the outside lane. He's got fresh tires. He is going to get a tremendous run on the outside lane. Chastain and Logano, they're side by side. Here comes the 3 of Dillon, jumps way down to the inside. Whoop, there he goes, inside, 3 wide for second place, but then launches it to the lead. Larson's unexpected, side by side. Here comes Chastain and Hamlin. 4 wide for the lead, doesn't work. Dillon gets turned, Chastain involved. Logano slams into the outside wall, collects Cole Custer. Larson is involved. Many more have crashed at the start finish line. Absolute pandemonium, taking out some of our top contenders, including Kyle Larson, leaving, you see, Denny Hamlin now as the race leader, with now gonna have a second edition of NASCAR Overtime. So now we have NASCAR Overtime, the second edition. Chastain, he's still out in front, but he has major damage. He holds up the outside lane. Kevin Harvick evasive maneuvers, jumps inside, but here comes Kyle Busch, Hamlin's teammate, on the outside, battling hard, side by side. Harvick gets a run, but Stenhouse holds him at bay. Now you have a 2x2 battle. battle between 5 other cars, because here comes Chase Briscoe now wanting to have a say in things. But out in front, as they build up a gap between Busch and Hamlin, Hamlin tried to slide Busch off, but he's still fighting back at the final lap. Busch leads at the line, Hamlin back on the inside lane, into turn number 1 and 2, and Hamlin pushes up and just clears. He forces the issue on Kyle Busch to take the lead, and that was it. Kyle Busch, he would have a shot at it, but he was not close enough. Denny Hamlin, in his 17th career NASCAR Cup start, will go on to win the Coca-Cola 600 for the first time in his career, and for his 48th career NASCAR Cup Series win, the second win of 2022. Absolute unbelievable finish that was. It was just incredible. This race, I believe we started this race at 6:30, 6:45, and we ended at midnight. It was one of the longest Coke 600s ever, but it was completely worth it. Denny Hamlin wins, leading just 7 laps, I believe. Kyle Busch finishing in a close second place. Third was Kevin Harvick. Fourth, Chase Briscoe, able to rebound for 4th place finish. 5th place was Christopher Bell. We're surprised to see him finish there after he suffered, I believe, a tire going down very, very late in the race. For him to rebound at 5th place, incredible. Tyler Reddick also was able to rebound from that left rear flat tire. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 4th consecutive top 10 finish. Great stretch of races for the 47 team. Michael McDowell, Kyle Larson able to rebound to a 9th place finish. And Alex Bowman, a quiet 10th place run. Harrison Burton, the rookie, his best career Cup Series finish. Martin Truex Jr. back, was able to rebound to 12th place. 13th, Ty Dillon, Eric Jones 14th, and Ross Chastain in 15th. Todd Gilliland, Eric Almirola, Cody Ware. How about that? Cody Ware, BJ McLeod, 18th and 19th. Nice top 20 finishes for those guys. And then from 20th place on back, these were the drivers I think that were out of this race. Yes, 17 drivers I think were out of this race. Logano, Cole Custer, Austin Dillon. Actually, Kaz Grala, 23rd place. He kept it clean. I don't believe was involved in any wrecks. Was able to finish the race in the 23rd position. Noah Gragson, Daniel Suarez, Chris Buescher, Justin Haley had motor issues. Bubba Wallace, he was out due to the stupid damaged vehicle policy, but we'll talk about that later. Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, Kurt Busch, Byron, Chase Elliott, Austin Cindric, Corey LaJoie, Josh Bilicki, and Ryan Preece. All those drivers were involved in accidents. And now let's take a look at the playoff grid after the Coke 600. Once again, still 11 drivers colored in green. Denny Hamlin becomes the 3rd driver to go to victory lane more than once. Ryan Blaney and Mark Jr., they have a 1 race buffer, plus 94 for Blaney, plus 88 for Truex. Christopher Bell, plus 58. Harvick, plus 31. And Tyler Reddick now holds the final spot, plus 8 ahead of Eric Almirola. Austin Dillon still, once again, minus 22. Eric Jones, minus 29. And Daniel Suarez still in 20th, again, minus 49. Okay. I need a moment. I need to just take a drink, just moist my throat. Like, what the hell? Again, it's just, this race had everything. It had everything. It was unbelievable. Now, there were some stupid moments, like with the damaged vehicle policy. The fact, there was a lot of issues with that. We're not going to talk about that in this episode, but it was just amazing. It was, in my opinion, the best Coke 600 I've ever seen. Again, because you really didn't know who would win the race. I mean, we all thought early on, okay, it's going to be Toyotas. But then Trackhouse takes over. So you're thinking, okay, it's going to be Suarez. But then Chastain takes over. Okay, Chastain's going to win this. And then Chastain falls off. Larson. We got to talk about Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson, I want to know if I get this right. I believe he hit the wall in qualifying or in practice. He had to start the rear. He then had three pit road penalties. I think they were all equipment leaving his box. He then hit the wall twice, and his car literally caught on fire. When they were putting fuel into the car, the fuel cell caught on fire. That happened in the first 200 laps. The first 200 laps, all of that happened. How he was even in position to win this race boggles my mind. This race was the exact definition of attrition, because you really had to fight and claw your way just to survive this race. Just to survive. I mean, Yeah, again, I don't know. I've never watched a Coke 600 this chaotic. I absolutely love this race. I mean, is this race of the year? I think this might be race of the year. This may be race of the year. I mean, so much shit happened in this race that you couldn't even fathom. The battles were so awesome to watch, and even if Briscoe didn't spin and didn't bring out the caution, that battle between him and Larson near the end would have been top notch to for a finish between those two drivers, because they were duking it out, giving it all that they had at the end. Just everything, the battles, the pit strategy, tire strategy. There were issues with Goodyear, but I didn't believe it was as crazy as everyone was making it out to be. There were some incidents, but again, it wasn't as bizarre as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, just tire strategy, the battles, the storylines, the comers and goers, just everything about it. I really don't know how you could complain about this race. And I'm talking about the racing. I'm not talking about the winner. I don't care if you're a Hamlin hater, but I'm talking about the race itself. You cannot complain about this race. I mean, if you didn't enjoy this race, then you might as well just stop watching NASCAR racing, because I don't know how could you look at this race and not enjoy it. And I'm talking about as a person that enjoys racing. I don't know how you could watch this race and not be entertained by it. This whole day of racing. I mean, Monaco. If I had to pick, I don't even know what was better, Indy or Monaco or Charlotte. I don't know. That's honestly up for grabs. Usually Indy beats out Charlotte, but this year, I don't know. But the whole day of racing was fun to watch. Monaco was interesting for Monaco standards. Indy. It was always entertaining, and Charlotte, I think, was the biggest surprise because, again, everyone knew it would be kind of crazy with this next-gen car and with the tire issues that Goodyear has been having, but I don't think anyone expected it to be this chaotic, this mental. But, man, I love this next-gen car. I love it. I'm not, again, never thought I'd say this. I think I said this in my Kansas review. I'm looking forward to mile and a half racetracks, except for Texas, but I'm looking forward to going back to Las Vegas in the playoffs. I'm looking forward for Homestead. I'm looking forward, well, we're not going to Charlotte, but I'm looking forward for Kansas. I'm looking forward for those tracks. I never thought I would be able to say that in my life, but I am. I want to go, well, no, not Kentucky, but I want to go back to Chicagoland with this car. I mean, absolutely incredible. And then Hamlin, he had a solid car. Yes, he started on pole, but he didn't, in my opinion, had the best car. He had, I think, a solid top 10 car. Toyota was strong at the beginning, but then Chevrolet took over with Trackhouse and Hendrick Motorsports. And then for Toyota to come back into the mix of things right near the end was, again, you could not predict this race. Last year you could predict it 100 laps in, but you really had to sit there and watch it till the very end to really know who was going to win this race. And Austin Dillon, yes, he wrecked, but my man went out swinging. How he was able to stick it in turn 4. Even though he was on those 4 fresh tires, I was in shock. He was able to stick it in turns 3 or 4, hold it there. We knew he had a 4-wide finish at the final lap, or coming to the final lap. Absolutely incredible. I don't know what else to say about this race. There's really nothing negative, except for maybe Goodyear tires. But other than that, I really don't know. I don't have anything else to say. Nor do I have anything to complain about this race. This race was just unbelievable. I give this race a 10 out of 10. This was the best Coke 600, again, I have ever seen. And that's all I can say about that. Congratulations to Denny Hamlin. What are your thoughts on this race? Did you like it? Did you love it? That's all I'm asking, because I don't know how you could not have liked this race. Unless you're a Hamlin hater, I don't know how you could not have liked this race. So, did y'all think this race was good, great, awesome? Or if there's even a better word for awesome, just tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank y'all so much for watching. My name is Jet, and I'll see y'all next time.